Okay, so I felt like I didn't actually want to just leave my base unfinished, so I decided to just finish it. This took about like 80 minutes, give or take, but I sped up the video footage by a lot, since it was literally just for the most part me just gathering materials to continue building my base. That was literally it. So first things first, I want to complete the sort of garden that I had for all of my plants, for my herbs, just to make that look more finished. So I put a glass roof and also a glass wall behind it, so I had to gather quite a bit of sand to actually go and do that. I eventually decided to go for a more sort of broken look, where it looks like the glass is smashed in several places. This also saves me having to gather more glass just to put up the entire wall, even though that wouldn't have taken that much longer. Definitely want to go for a more smashed aesthetic, because I figured it'd look nice. Yeah, so after that I would also just continue building the sort of platforms that I would put stairs on. In other words, I'm just building more of the balconies for each of the little houses that the NPCs live in. I mean, it just looks more realistic that way. And then I go and gather more sand, since I still don't quite have enough glass to finish off. Also, the sort of terrace I'm putting on top of the planter boxes. So on top of the garden, on top of the greenhouse, I'm putting a little terrace of some sort. So I had to gather more glass for that. And then I also decided to just play around with my vanity set a bit, looking at my options and see what worked best. I mean, I want to try on a different sort of hood at least. Granted, I still was wearing a sort of magic hood. So I decided to defeat the Moon Lord to try and get myself the materials to make a Nebula robe top. Or that's what I think it is, and it turns out it looks more like a piece of chest armor than it does a robe. So once I make that, I just quickly reconsider and just switch back to the cultist robe I had on already, dyed red. And then I also just continue building more steps and whatnot, more balconies and more staircases, just to really bring the whole base together. Yeah, when it comes to this stream, I sped it up by a lot, and I also did just exclusively building and gathering materials. Like, I didn't go and fight any other bosses aside from that one Moonlord fight to see what the Nebula breastplate would have looked like. I also just played around my vanity set a bit, see what I would like wearing. Though it really wouldn't matter since I had no plans to continue playing on this world after the base was more complete. I mean, first things first, I would go and continue to just build the base by putting roofs on the tops of the buildings that I knew I wasn't going to be expanding any further. I had no plans on really building any more NPC houses, so I figured for all of these buildings I would just put roofs on them, make it a little more complete that way. I also want to make sure that the roofs that were on the top of the leftmost two buildings would match the roofs on the top of the rightmost two buildings, so they'd be like the same width and height, just so it would be consistent. I also went to get some more boreal wood since I ran out, just so I could finish off the last rooftop. And then I also decided to go to the dungeon in the underworld just to go and gather furniture to go and put in the NPC houses. Just because a few of them looked a little too bare bones for my liking, so I went through the dungeon, just grabbed more or less whatever wasn't nailed down, and then I would do the same in the underworld. And I would actually also get a black belt. By total chance, I found a Bone Lee and killed it, and it did drop a black belt, though I have no plans of actually using it at this rate. I'm not going to go also try and get the tabby, nor am I going to try and wait for paladins to start showing up. And then I also find out what the Acolyte ore is used for, and what model it's from, most from Master Cadmium, just like the Kenoite ore. Though I think it might have been like a tier 2 lower than the Kenoite ore, so I really wasn't interested. I found that Acolyte ore honestly too late to get any use out of it. So yeah, I'm just grabbing more furniture now from the underworld, and just teleporting through walls with the rod of discord just to get around a bit faster. So I figured this might have been maybe a better way to do a farewell. I don't know, just having a fight with MS Paint Dio, well, several fights anyways, and then just doing like 450 plus million damage to the Avatar of Death with the Uno Reverse card. That was probably honestly a better way to finish off the series, but I didn't want to leave the base incomplete, so I had to do one more like part to this mod pack. There had to be just one more video where I just bring the rest of the base together, because I forgot to do that after fighting Dio, and then just jumping into the Avatar of Death with the Uno Reverse card just to do massive damage to it. Yeah, that, by the way, the reverse card just redirects 200% of the damage dealt back to the attacker, and the Avatar of Death can do easily 100 million plus damage with its projectile attacks. So reflecting 200% of that damage, very easily I'm going to do at least 200 plus million. Then again, I was doing more than 200% because maybe the accessories I had on and the armor I had on also just contributed to the increase in damage, who knows. So I'm just now putting furniture in the houses that don't really have too much of it. Just making everything look more complete, in other words. And then after not too long, I'm just more or less almost completely satisfied with what I have for my base, and then just pretty much save and quit that world for the last time, I would assume. Yeah, because I don't know what else exactly I'm going to be doing in this playthrough. I already have such overpowered gear. Not much of a point in doing really anything else.